yes. You know, it do me some good. I didn't check with that, I should say what oil do, but it will do some good. You ready?
Yeah.
Amen? We declare the anointing of God upon your life this morning. We declare the glory of God upon your life this morning. We declare the favor of God upon your life this morning. We declare good and perfect gifts upon your life this morning. We declare upgrade, improvement, advancement, promotion, elevation, and breakthrough upon your life this morning. In the mighty name of Jesus. Therefore, you are blessed and highly favored. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. That the enemy will be trampled in the mighty name of Jesus. We declare no sickness, no disease, no infirmity upon your life this morning. We declare long life, great health, and great strength upon your life. This church will continue to be blessed and advanced, and your generation will continue to be blessed. In the mighty name of Jesus. And all God's people say, Amen. Make it sound like I was asking if in the mighty name of Jesus, huh? In the mighty name of Jesus. We wake up a little bit. And we wake up a little bit more.
Yes, God.
Alright? Did you give God a good clap, huh, this morning to Jesus? When I say God and Jesus, I mean God, but God. Such is the mathematics. Right, so I'm going to go as fast. No, not really. So before we get into the word, this week, as I said, it was a busy week, a very rare week. That two holidays fall on right after each other. And some people take the Friday. Anybody take the Friday too? They get a long weekend? It's not on? It's off? I'll give you some technician as well too. Testing.
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
I was trying to say.
Or maybe that's why, because I found out today this morning and I find like I wasn't here, and maybe that's why everybody should go.
You wasn't watching Mathematics.
So, but I couldn't get from there. You had to go, you know. Come now, man, Sister Shelly, man. Alright, good. So, right, so I said, yeah, two holidays. Only see the post about the DCU, say that, see something about shouldn't have two holidays or something like that. Anybody know about that? Anyways, okay. So I hope that those of you who needed some rest got rest. I sure didn't get any, but that's okay. And you know, while some of us were happy about Indian Arrival Day, all you know is Indian Arrival Day, right?
Yeah.
Right. I saw that there was some trouble brewing on social media. You know, social media always have trouble. When trouble will happen on social media, right? That's it. So we had a little bit of trouble in social media. A little bit of racism here and there, but this is to be expected. Of course, it is expected, whatever says. And little did I know that God was going to show me something further than racism. There is, you know, the issue of racism a little bit. You see, racism as you know it is like a judgment. It is the judgment and the subsequent condemnation of a man based on his color of his skin. All you know about that? And not on the qualities of the man other than the color of his skin. Yes. We know that too well.
Yes,
Africans actually know it more than Indians, I believe. Because to some degree, Indians had it maybe a little bit easier. I think they had it a little bit easier. Because we came in, you know, as indentured laborers, so it wasn't like full slavery. It was kind of slavery, but it wasn't full slavery. Right? So Africans faced it, Indians faced it, and up to recently I didn't realize that other races kind of face it as well. Maybe some more than others, as I said. But racism is just one of the many challenges we as human beings face in this life. You see, there's a deeper meaning that could come out of understanding racism. Martin Luther King fought against what? Racism. But Martin Luther King, if you listen to him very carefully on what he says, he seemed to understand that it wasn't just racism he was up against. God was revealing to me that racism is just the tip of the iceberg that man faces in this life. You see, just the way man does, just the way man does not like man based on the color of his skin at times, sometimes you don't like people simply by how they dress. Or if it is racism you fight it in this world, partner, that is just one out of many things that you fight in this world. You just don't realize that you're fighting. Because somebody tells you, so she looks so nice in your dress and has a kind of sari style to it as well.
I don't like it.
And somebody will like it. Point exactly. Point exactly. You think you're fighting racism. Because you know racism is one of the most obvious ones. But you're fighting more than that. Racism is just a piece. We make it the biggest piece of the puzzle when there's so much different pieces that are there. Alright?
Yes.
So let me tell you something. When somebody don't like your skin, don't make it a big deal.
Amen.
Because there are other things, if you didn't like your skin, you will find something else to like it.
Yeah.
Not to like it. Yeah. That's what God was showing me. You know, so when you try to please, you try to please people, you try to please them one way. Watch out. You can go and paint yourself white, and still they will find something. You understand what I'm saying? So God was showing me that. He was showing me it is not only racism a day. Let me tell you how far it goes. So I talk about your dress. Simply because you might not be the richest man, somebody ain't gonna like you. Not so? There are some people when they hear rich, hey, let me be your friend, let me be your friend. Yeah, rich. What you call that? Moneyism? Richism? What you call it? I don't know. But I'm telling you that the challenge is great in other areas as well. Maybe because you're not good looking or attractive. Oh, I sure if I was a little more handsome, I might have a little more friends. Maybe. Might I lose some of our good friends to get some more friends, but that's okay, you know. But the point is that. So I hope I'm talking to somebody here this morning. God was enlightening me to the real challenge. The real challenge is not racism. The real challenge is our mindset. It is what our mind interprets and what our mind thinks. And if we don't control our minds, you see, we don't like people to control our mind. Eh? We don't like our own parents to tell us what to do. We don't like the government to tell you what to do sometimes. We don't like the police to tell you what to do. I understand because sometimes just feel like they out for this up, yes. But at the end of the day, if we don't want nobody to control the mind, right? Well then we have to control our own minds.
Yes.
The reason why law and all these things are here is because man could not control his own mind. The reason why the word of God is here is why man could not control his own mind. He never thought about controlling his own mind. Not everybody, I'm saying, but many people. That is the issue. So the word mindset is a very funny word, you know. For a programmer, that word mindset, when I think of it as a programmer, when I set a variable on the computer and say x is equal to 0, it tends to stay that way unless I decide I'm going to write another line to say x will not be equal to 0 anymore, it will be 1. I set that. And this morning I'm not here to bore you. You say, Pastor, why you always at the boss and put us to sleep? But as a programmer, I understand that I can change that variable if I choose to do so. The choice is there. And we, brothers and sisters, have to understand the power of God in our lives this morning. You see, the power of God allows us to change our mindsets. That is what the power of God is. Why did He send this word if it was not for our minds? Think about it. It's a simple point, but it's a point sometimes we forget. When we put that word in front of us, what is that word for? It is not for the chair. It is not for your nice house. It is for you. But which part are you? Your mind, which also links to what they call your heart. But it's not really your heart, right? Where really is your heart is the question. You all have to decide. And we know we physical heart, but there's another heart that I'm talking about. Alright? And so the power of God allows us to change our mindsets. So I'm not sure if you get this morning, you know. You see, when Jesus came to earth, he came as a man, but he came to set our minds and therefore our hearts free this morning. Is your heart and is your mind free this morning? I ask you. I'm not judging you, eh? I ask you because I ask myself that every week. Is my heart and my mind free? Not that I'm perfect, but I have to ask myself. I keep myself in check. You know, you play the game chess, and you make a move. You just tell the next man, check, check. And well, if you have no more moves, you checkmate, right? But this is what this little piece of advice is. Check, check, keep checking, all right? And here's the thing. So you see, when Jesus came to earth, he came as a man, but he came to set our minds and therefore our hearts free. Sure, he came to heal the sick and cause the deaf to hear, but that was to free us from bondage. But that was just one example of bondage. The same way racism is just one example of bondage this morning. You hear what I'm saying? That is what I saw. That is what Jesus was showing me. And our mindset can be our greatest blessing or our greatest curse. If we start off the day negative, chances are, let me tell you how far this be. So we may start off the day negative and negative things come your way, you know. I don't know that one thing. It's the same way when you speak good things, sometimes good things come for you. You speak good things, you speak bad things, sometimes bad things come for you. It's the same way this applies. So these new technologies like Facebook, they are powerful tools. Anybody use Facebook here?
Yes.
Pastor, yes. Nobody afraid to raise your hand up, buddy. Huh? Too tired to raise your hand? No. Yet, day in and day out, I get to see the mindsets of the people. Many post good stuff throughout the day, you know, don't get me wrong, real nice stuff. Some people post real good stuff. Very inspiring words that could go along there, just get like a muffle. But that comes with a condition. A simple condition, yet one that evades much of mankind. Our choice to change. Trinidad and Tobago is a good prime example of that. Our choice not to change. More and more and more, if there is any change, it seems to be more murders, more crime, more people cussing, more people doing these kind of things. They're changing maybe they're getting worse, or they're not changing at all, changing in a good way. We need to change in a good way this morning. Start with children. Start with the children. Good spot. Right? When we lose our choice to change, we can lose our blessings as well. When we lose our choice to change. And as we go through the word and the lessons of God, God's most precious way, don't forget that choice to change this morning. That is for everybody, including the pastor. When this word comes, it comes for each and every one of us this morning. This word that was written is for each and every one of us. The choice to change is greater than the offense received. You know what that means? Pastor said this about me. No. I plan to say nothing about nobody. That is not the intention. It is greater than any choice of offense. You know what I'm saying? It should never be that offense. But sometimes offense comes. Sometimes we talk about things that challenge all of us. And so you could feel that it is for you. It is not directly at you. The choice to change is given by God to increase our hope this morning. Change is to increase our hope. The choice to change is that power that God has given to us. God could have not given us that choice, to change. Yet, even in His greatness beyond what we could ever see, He thought it fit to give us that choice this morning. And that speaks wonders for me. It is not just a simple thing, but actually one of the most powerful things that God Himself gave to us. So respect your choice this morning. Do you respect your choice? Do you trust your choice? Aha! That's another one.
Yes.
Do you trust your choice? That is what we have to, when we live a life that is getting closer and closer unto God, you know that we could trust our choices more? Yes, we could do that. We could trust our choices more. So I am encouraging you this morning. I might be talking to the choir here this morning. We have good people here this morning. But good could get better.
Yes.
And better could become best. Understand? And greatest. Good could become greatest. Alright? So appreciate it and utilize it to gain the blessings of God and what God has in store for you this morning. Right, so that was the first lesson this morning, our choice to change our mindset. But I know that I am preaching to the choir. So this morning, I want to get into the Word of God this morning. And I'll try not to take too long. But that was the first lesson, just 2 lessons. Last week, just to recap, we saw the challenge that David faced in his life. Do you remember that? We talked about David. We associated his experience with that of a Christian. Even though at the time that David lived, Jesus had not come to earth and impacted the earth as yet. How could we do that? Is that a fallacy? Is that wrong for us to think like that? I don't believe so. You see, we associate David's life to that of a Christian life because at the end of the day, God was present both in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. You hear what I'm saying? He was there in the Old Testament, he didn't disappear in the New Testament, you know. It's just the New Testament focused on Jesus' life. It didn't focus on God the Father's life, that's all, right? So don't take it into context of what the Old Testament is, what the New Testament is, all right? And so, he was both in the Old as well as the New, except in the New Testament, as I said, Jesus became our Savior, and to some degree, he became our intermediary, our lawyer, so to speak, our defender. We stand behind him when we have to reach God. We stand behind him because he died so that we could be redeemed and God could hear us once more. That is how it was. And we saw that it was God that protected a city. You remember the city? I hope that you didn't get bored when I was explaining the city because it was very important. And even after David and his men protected that same city, the city of the men that they saved, even so, the men were willing to give up these same people who saved them, give up David and his men. All this was in 1 Samuel 23. And in this life, how many of you would rather be the king or the queen than be the peasant this morning? That is a question. Wouldn't you rather be a king or a queen this morning than be the peasant? Anybody ever live a peasant life?
Plenty.
Plenty. Look, Sister Shirley, plenty. I raised my hand too. Because there was times where I wasn't the king or the queen. Right? While there might be some of us that may want to be the peasant who might be poor and needy, I think it is safe to say that most of us don't want to be poor and needy. Anybody here want to be poor and needy? Thank God nobody raised their hand. I wouldn't know how to explain that one to them if they raise their hand. We want authority, don't we? We want power to make things better. Anybody?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I ain't hear the whole crowd, I only heard some. So why am I saying all of this morning? Well, you might be wondering why we are going through the experiences of David and going through this book called 1 Samuel. Hey, Pastor, every day, every week you come, it's the same thing. You see, we know that David was going to be King David, not so? Yes, he was. Yes. This book in God's Word is showing us what it is to be a king. Do you ever take it in that context? Cast aside the perfect belief that absolutely no challenge comes in your life. Cast aside that. In other words, put some thought into the idea that challenges may come our way. Anybody can agree with that?
Yeah.
If you don't, you might be seeking what is pleasing to the ears and not what is pleasing to your life in Christ Jesus. That was my first lesson when I came across David. Started to open my eyes to what God was really saying in his word. And if you don't know, sorry, let me move on from that. But I don't see that to be clear challenge in our lives. We shouldn't declare that God give me more challenge. No, you don't have to pray for that. Lord, help me to move around those challenges, to succeed from those challenges. There's a difference, eh? Some people I see them pray, Lord, send wherever you want. Not realizing they don't know, they don't know what they're asking for. And so only to encourage you as we go through this life, the process of becoming a true king or a true queen this morning. This is what I saw David. This is what I saw in David's life, David's story. David's process was not always a walk in the park. Anybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Right. Remember, as I said, what was the point? David was the next king. And yet we see that David's process was not always a walk in the park. In fact, it was far from it. It was far from it. We see the rejection last week, the situations of running maybe the week before that, the situations of hiding that David had to go through, but he's king. You see, sometimes in this life, we think, all right, okay, well, I'm king, I have no problem. Anybody ever think of that? Logically, our logic tells us, we are king, we wouldn't have any problems. And I am not saying that there is circumstances where you will not have problems. But I am saying what happens if you do have a little challenge that come your way. Because that one challenge will break your belief, if that is what you believe. Alright? So again, look at your life. Did I skip something? Right. We see the rejection, we see the situations of hiding that David had to do. And that even though he did all that, someday, that would make David a great king to some degree. So again, look at your life. Was it perfect or did you struggle? How much did you struggle is the other question. Some people struggle more than other people. Are you going to struggle through in this life? Is the question. Are you going through many struggles in this life right now? That is another question. I want to let you know that if you are, God is preparing you to make you a king, or to make you a king in your own right this morning, especially if you are here. You say, Pastor, why I can see that? How I can see that if you're here? Because if you're here this morning, you're not here for yourself this morning. You're here because some drive brought you here. Some drive brought you here for God. Yes. So this is why I can say, if you are here and you have a struggle, God is preparing you to become a king or a queen this morning. Just didn't realize it yet. This is what David was going through. This is what David was going through. So who are we, as they say sometimes, right? But he is looking for you to make decisions that is pleasing unto him. A good decision is to be here. That's excellent. And I hope that I didn't let the cat out of the bag this morning yet. Let's go to 1 Samuel 24 very quickly.